Hey friends, Leigh Brown here and welcome back to My Kitchen, My Rules. And I know you're admiring like the 1,000 different prints I have on today because my Dixie Crystal's apron has these polka dots and ruffles. And I'm wearing my gingham house dress today because we've been cleaning the house. And I don't know if that's a Yankee thing as well as a Southern thing because, you know, we clean the house in a house dress in my part of the country. So y'all won't have to tell me if that's what your people call it too. But in my efforts to take care of you, my people, y'all made the request that Leigh, these suppers are fine, I need more sweets. Okay, apparently y'all need more sweets in your life. And so we're gonna make key lime pie today, and it's a really good one, and it's probably because it has lots of cookies in it. So this is your crust. We're not making a usual graham cracker crust. You got to have Bortman's Bakery coconut cookies. Now, if you want to use a different brand, good luck, because I think Bortman's is the only ones that make these coconut cookies, so they're made with real coconut. And look at y'all, no high fructose corn syrup, so it passes my sniff test for, you know, the good kind of sugar. And let's see where they're made. These are from Canada, so oh Canada, thank you for good cookies. You need a whole entire package of cookies. See, now you're already thinking, oh heck yeah, Leigh, this is my kind of recipe. So we're gonna take the whole pack of them and put them in the food processor because we got to finely ground them down. Now you can do this with your Ziploc bag and your meat tenderizer. Y'all have seen how I tend to crush things, but to get this fine enough for a crust, you're gonna have to food processor it. Oh, and let me cut my oven on. We're back in y'all's happy place now. 350 degrees, bake on. See, and I remember to cut it on today, so I'm very advanced because now my house is clean. And I don't know how it works, y'all, but why is it that right after you sweep and mop, you feel like you have to sweep again? I like to walk around my house barefooted, and I hate walking on little crumbs, but you know, such is life, first world problems. Look, y'all wonder what I said when you see me talking. I was just pretending to be talking because things so loud. You can tell these things are made with real coconut because it hops up and down when it hits one of the solid cookies. I think I got there's one holdout in there. Hang on a minute, we ain't done yet. Did y'all see it? I mean, these things are wild. Wild, I tell you. Okay, golly, that is some pretty stuff, and it smells so good. All right, now what you need, there goes my jump into the sink. That's why I have crumbs on the floor, because I'm food processing cookies. I know, right? So let me get us a bowl here. So what you're gonna do is take all of this, and you should have a pie plate, by the way, a deep dish pie plate. And I've heard you can use a springform pan for this. I do not have a springform pan, so we use a deep dish pie plate around here for this. And we're going to dump all of that beauty in here. But we're not going to cook the blade from the food processor. I don't believe that would be very good for your digestive tract. Let's check it and make sure we don't have any sneaky giant pieces of cookie in here. And by the way, if you see a giant piece of cookie, do exactly what I just did. Eat it. They're good cookies. All right, so anyway, cut my sink on here. In addition to your entire package of coconut cookies, you need 1/4 cup of coconut oil. Now, this is Trader Joe's coconut oil because that's where I was when I needed it. So anyway, some of y'all that are my cooking novices, I love you extra. You advanced people, just, you know, close your eyes. You already knew this. When you're buying coconut oil and you see that it's this congealed mess of white and you don't know what to do with it, stick it in your microwave about 20 seconds at a time. It'll melt. Coconut oil is like the easiest thing in the world to use. But if you didn't know that, now you do. See, there you go, friends. These are learning experiences as much as anything. And then we need 2 tablespoons of Dixie Crystal Sugar. And some of y'all said, Leigh Brown, I don't know what the packaging looks like. How will I know Dixie Crystals if I find it? All right, look, y'all, that's what the packaging looks like. It says, Dixie Crystal Sugar since 1917, azúcar de caña pura. So for my Spanish-speaking friends, you probably cringed right then. Don't worry, at some point I plan to take some Spanish classes. It just has not happened yet. So anyway, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then we're going to stir that up just to turn it into a little bit of something that could be mushed. So get your oil dispersed. Make sure your sugar is dispersed. Because you know, who doesn't need more sugar in your cookie mix? Right. Okay, so what we'll do is make sure that's ready to go. We're gonna press this into the bottom of the pie dish. Let me move my pie dish where y'all can look at it and see it. Oh, if you wonder where my pretty red pan came from, I found it at the Harris Theater one time. I needed a pie plate because I had either broken one or lost it, or just tragedy had ensued. And they had it, and it has held up very well for several years. So if you go to looking for it and can't find it, it wasn't this seasoned. Do pans have seasons like clothes and pocketbooks do? Asking for a friend. Okay, so put that in your pan, and then use your hands, y'all. See, this is, it's kind of like when you were little and played with Play-Doh. It was as much touching it as it was smelling it, but you knew when you had off-brand Play-Doh, am I right? Because it did not smell right. Just like off-brand crayons don't smell like Crayola. I went to the Crayola factory one time in Kansas City. It was great fun. And I don't remember if they explained if they sneak some scents up in there so that you will smell childhood, but man alive, crayons smell good. All right, so I'm trying to mush it down, y'all. If you're wondering what's taking me so long, I want it to be as even as possible on the bottom, just so that people won't fuss in the family when they get a piece if somebody else got more crust than they did, because this is one of those pies where you won't have the crust people saying, I don't eat crust. Yeah, they'll eat this one. It's really just a big old baked cookie. Okay, so now that we've got it mushed in here, our big pile of crumbs, and it goes up the sides, by the way. I need to move my pot so y'all, there we go. Now y'all can see all the fun. One day I'll learn, you know, by episode 50 or something. Okay, it's all the way up the sides and around the bottom. We're gonna put this in the oven for about 10 minutes. And what you're looking for is for it to turn a little bit golden. It's already yellow from being coconut cookies, but about 10 minutes. And then you're gonna take it out, and it's got to cool. So there's a big reason that this is a giant front segment. If you don't get the crust right, friends, your key lime is not gonna be right. It'll taste good, but it'll be weird. All right, so I will see y'all after this thing has baked for 10 minutes, and then we'll start fixing the filling. Okay, so now comes the easy part. While your crust is in the oven, and you can even wait till it's out, that's fine, since it has to cool off. You gotta fix your limes. You need 4 limes, but if you're using key limes, and I didn't find any in the grocery store that looked like they were worth the darn, you might have to get like a dozen because they're tiny. So, I mean, I guess I probably shouldn't call this key lime pie. I guess this is gonna be lime pie, but fine. People who are around here will still eat it. We need some lime zest. Now you need about a tablespoon. And if you're not super familiar with zest, that's what this tool is. This thing that's like a baby grater. Let me carry it over here to my camera so y'all can look at it. It's the 𝙏𝙀𝘼𝘾𝙏𝙀 one. But when you're zesting, take your lime down till you get to the pith, but don't put a ton of the pith in there. That's that whitish part up in there. It's bitter, and so we want the outside part with all the lime flavor in it. And then, if you're smart, probably while you're drinking this, I mean eating it, you're drinking about, I'm not drinking today, I promise, not yet, is that song, you put the lime in the coconut and drink it all up. So you can make you a pina colada with your extras here. But that zest gives you a ton of flavor. If y'all did not know that, just take you a minute to create some. And if you do too much, which I don't really know what too much would taste like, I have a big love of citrus myself. Because you know, vitamin C, this is going to make you healthy. We're not going to think about all the sugar that's in it, which actually the sugar makes you happy. And so we're supposed to be happy and healthy, and so Shazam. We have vitamin C for healthy, we have sugar for happy, and then you got to make it, frankly, and that's the fun part. That looks pretty close. So let me wipe off the excess here, and Shazam. And now I'm going to tell y'all another secret about your juicer. If you have a juicer like mine, there's a big end and a little end. Y'all ever notice that? The big side is for lemons and the little side's for limes. So you learned something new today. I don't know about y'all, but I keep seeing these things roll around on Pinterest and whatnot, Instagram. I was 0 days old when I learned things like when my spoon and fork can sit in the takeout container. And frankly, when I get takeout, I just eat it all. I don't need my spoon and fork to just sit around and look at me. But maybe that's just how I'm wired. So the reason you need 4 limes is you need roughly 1/4 cup. But you know, we're not always exact in My Kitchen, My Rules unless we're baking. But this doesn't really count as baking because it's more of an icebox pie, even though you do have to cook the crust. I mean, you don't have to, I guess. I guess you could eat it raw, but that sounds a little weird. So, you know, you do you, and I'll do me. And maybe that's the reason y'all are watching this channel, because you've done you too much and you don't really know what to do next. And I feel you, friends. That's why cooking has been my saving grace during this very interesting season in life, right? It feels good to mush that lime down. Since I had to use my food processor for my crumbs, I didn't get to get all my frustrations out by slamming things on the countertop. Juicing will do it for you. But I will tell you that if you have arthritis like I do, this job can be kind of tricky. But the thing that I like for arthritis is CBD oil. But I'll tell y'all, my grandmother had real bad arthritis. It ran in her whole side of the family. And I mean, like, the osteoporosis runs in that side of the family too. So kind of hoping I took after my mama's mama in that regard. But anyway, my dad's mom had the arthritis, and she had a trick for handling it. She would take a quart mason jar and fill it up with white raisins. And then she would cover them with gin. And then put it in the refrigerator. And then the next day, they would have absorbed the gin, and you put gin back to the top of your raisins and keep on going until the raisins would not hold any more gin. And basically, you had these really plump grapes that were full of gin. And then you eat 10 of them a day, and that would cure your arthritis. And in the same breath, this hilariously sassy and fabulous woman would say, now I don't drink though. She would just eat 10 of these gin-soaked grapes to make her arthritis better. So there you go, friends. If you have arthritis, you could make your own myrtle concoction and then let me know if that worked for you like it worked for her. I haven't really tried it yet. Look, see, 4 limes is right at 1/4 cup, so let's just dump that in here. Other thing I like about this juicer is it catches all the seeds. And then we're gonna add in, get my lime pieces out of the way here, and we're going to add in our zest. I'm just gonna dump it right off my board here. That's the perk here. I'm halfway not paying attention because I'm listening for my oven to go off, but I should probably be hustling so that I'll be having my hands out of this and my crust won't burn. All right, so the zest is in, juice is in. Now you need a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, and we're using Borden today. They have the Magnolia brand here at my store. It used to just say Borden, and this is from, I don't know where that's from. It says in the USA, but it's in Espanol. I'm gonna have to learn some more Spanish if I'm gonna buy more containers with Spanish on the lid. That would make me just better off right there. All right, so there you go, your 14 ounces of condensed milk. Takes a second to come out. Even when you open up the wheat pole on the other side, I probably could have just pulled the lid off, but that's not how my grandmother did it. All right, so while that's happening, we're gonna get some Cool Whip out. Now the recipe that I like, it calls for coconut whipped topping, but y'all, that's like twice the cost of Cool Whip, and I'm just not willing. So I guess if you're sensitive to dairy, I don't think this is really dairy. I think this is just Cool Whip. And this is, by the way, the best leftover containers ever, and don't even at me on that. You know, Cool Whip containers are the staple of the kitchen. I'm not paying attention here. And so you would normally have 2 containers of Cool Whip, but my Harris Teeter had the giant container on sale, and so I got the giant container. So we fixed to put half of it up in here with this very, very slow condensed milk. It's driving me nuts. Let's put another hole in the can here, help it go. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right. If 1 hole ain't enough, go with 2. Amen, amen. All right. So remember, only half of the container, but if you're using the normal containers, 1 whole container is going to mix in here. And let me cut that off while this thing is sitting here. Oh, that's so pretty. Look, I'm just going to let it drain here. I don't know if I can do this without making a mess. So y'all just say a little prayer for me real quick. I'm not cutting the camera off, so whatever happens, happens. Y'all are going to see it. I'm either going to be boring or viral. It's going to be one or the other. All right. Oh, this looks so good. All right. So, can't get the hold of the, got the wrong pot holder. The ones that Cora made for me with her latchwork kit are very cute. They're not always the best. Let me get my one here, the silicone. All right. Because I know my helper's not going to come in the kitchen with the video camera going. All right. So that's what your crust looks like. See? It's very pretty. Got a little golden brown on it. We're gonna let it cool for about 20 minutes. So let me let this happen. This condensed milk is still taking its own sweet time. Good Lord, come on out the container. Ugh, this may be the Lord telling me I don't need this much sweetening in my life, but the recipe called for sweetened, dadgummit. And I'm pretty sure you could use sweetened coconut milk if you had a mind to it. All right, while that's draining, let's see if I can keep working independently here. This is gonna make me feel like I'm Charles Shackelford. If y'all remember Charles Shackelford, he played basketball for NC State back in the early 80s, and he had the most infamous basketball interview ever where he said, I can dribble with my right hand, I can dribble with my left hand. I'm amphibious. Don't believe me? Look it up. It was the best thing ever, and as a child who grew up in a Carolina household, oh, we used that for days. But my same grandmother with her, who didn't drink with her gin-soaked raisins, was a diehard State fan. She was mad every time we would make fun of old Charles. All right, that can is empty. Now let's, I don't have to be amphibious anymore. Let's just get one more scoop. All right, now we're gonna mix that up. Condensed milk, Cool Whip, lime juice, and lime zest. And that is your filling. So once that crust cools off, we're gonna pour this into the crust, and then it sits in your refrigerator for in the neighborhood of 4 hours. And so if you're having a barbecue or having friends over, circle meeting, whatever, client, maybe you want to carry this to a client meeting. I bet if somebody's watching this, they're thinking, if I hire Leigh Brown as my realtor, maybe she'll make me something to eat. I did make a pan of macaroni for one of my clients, and so I'm just saying you should choose carefully when you hire an agent. I'm just playing. Some people might try to cook for you and maybe shouldn't. So we're going to pour this in the crust. We're going to cool it for 4 hours. And then I'm actually going to get a little bit of extra zest to sprinkle on the top just for presentation purposes. So I'll see y'all with the finished product here shortly. Okay, so see how pretty that is? Your made up little toppingness full of lime goodness goes in your cookie crust. And actually, I think I told y'all before, the refrigerator, we're going to put it in the freezer. It's going to sit in there with the icy pops for 4 hours at least, or longer if you want. And then when it comes out, we got one last step, and it's good. Okay, so after about 5 hours in the freezer, this is what you have. You have something that's so good you want to go ahead and eat it, but we got to put the last layer on the top. So you get the rest of your Cool Whip, and the recipe calls for a whole container of Cool Whip as your top layer. I'm not going to do a whole layer because, frankly, I don't really want my Cool Whip to destroy the flavor of the filling here. So we're just going to put a nice, smooth little layer on the top, and then just so your friends will think you're fancy, we're going to put a little bit of garnishment on there. Not like your wages when you don't pay child support, but the good garnishment, the kind that everybody wants, which is a freshly sliced lime. And then you will be the hit of the party, friends. So I've got 5 lime slices. We're just going to be so decorative and fancy here and just lay them out here in a little 3, 2, 1 pattern. And how about that? Your cookie crust key lime pie. And by the way, it pairs nicely with this autumn harvest that we have with supper. So try it out, see what you think. And by the way, Cool Whip, y'all didn't mean to get a commercial, so y'all should hook a sister up with some commercials. Anyway, subscribe for more. I'll see you next time in my kitchen.